Hello, this is Zamanzadeh from zzNetworking.com. In this tutorial video, I'm going to cover two topics briefly. First, a comprehensive query, and second, using aliases. Now, don't let the word comprehensive fool you. Any query is very simple when you break it down. So I'm going to give you an example of that. Suppose we want to list the customer number, the order date, the number of items ordered, times the quoted price, and call the column order total for all customers whose order total is greater than 1,000. Sort the results by the order total. Well, to break down this code is very simple, actually. In the select statement, we select what columns we want to view. We want to view the customer number. We want to view the order number, and we want that order number to come from the orders table. So we simply qualify by putting orders.order number. We want the order date, and then we want to multiply the number of items ordered times the quoted price and add that together. So we use an aggregate function. We use sum, in parentheses, the number ordered times the quoted price, and we call it order total. This gives us the total number of items purchased per customer. Now we're going to use the orders table and order line table. So we put that in our from clause here. Then we simply have to join these tables together. We put that in our where clause here, where I'm highlighting. We say orders.order number, order num from the orders table equals to order line.order num, order number from the order line table. Now, since we used an aggregate function up here in our select clause, what do we have to do? We have to group all the columns that are not part of that aggregate function. So we say group by orders.order number, customer number, and order date, since those are part of our non-aggregate function columns that we want to view. Now, since we want to find the people whose order total is greater than 1,000, we can't put down in our, we're restricting a group of information, not rows, so we have to have, first of all, a having clause. And since we can't put down the order total, which you see here in your select statement, since that is an alias, that's a fictional column that we're making right now. That column is going to give us the results of sum, in parentheses, num ordered times quoted price. We have to repeat this to restrict our group. We have to say having sum, open parentheses, num ordered times quoted price, close parentheses, greater than 1,000. The order total is just the name that column is going to take when we execute this query. It's not the calculation itself. And finally, since we want to sort this information by the order number, we have to say order by, and since the order number appears in both tables and we want the order number from the orders table, we have to once again qualify and say orders.order underscore num. Now, let's go ahead and run this query. And here is the result. We now have the customer number, the order date, their order total, and we know that their order total is greater than $1,000. That's an example of a complex. To solve these comprehensive queries, it's best just to break it down into select. What are you selecting for? Your columns that you want to view. From, which tables you want to view. Where, join the tables and add conditions to restrict rows of information. Group by non-aggregate columns. Having restricts groups of information regarding your aggregate function columns. And then order by sorts the information in whatever order you want to view it in. Now, let's deal with the subject of table aliases. Now, suppose you want to join 4 or 5 tables together. That will require a lot of coding. There's an easier way to do this. It's called using an alias. Now, For this problem, we're going to use a table alias to find a representative number, first name and last name, along with the customer number and name that they represent. Now, the code you see down here does that. Here, notice in the select statement, we say select r.repnum, last name, first name, customer name. Now, why do we say r.repnum? Well, if you look here in our from statement, we say from the table rep, and then we add a space, a single space, and put the letter R. And then we say, comma, customer space C. Whenever you put this in your from clause, whenever you put the name of a table followed by a space and then a letter, that is assigning for this query that letter to the table rep. So for the table rep, everything in this query, when we refer to the table rep, we simply qualify it with the letter R. And everything in this query, when we refer to the table customer, we simply refer to it with the letter C. So when we say select r.repnum, we're saying we want the repnum from the rep table, r.repnum as opposed to rep.repnum. Now in our where clause, we have to relate these two tables. So instead of saying where rep.repnum equals to customer.repnum, we simply say where r.repnum equals to c.repnum. Now when you're only joining two tables, it's not really necessary to do this, but when you're joining 4 or 5 tables, this could come in handy as opposed to having to repeat the name of every single one of your tables over and over again. And after executing the query, we see the results here in the bottom pane. Now let me give you another example of this. Suppose, in addition, we want to show all parts, we want to show the part number, description, and warehouse for all parts that are on order. Well, it's very simple. In our select statement, we say select o.partnum, description, and warehouse. In our from clause, we have to tell Oracle what this O represents in our select clause. The way we do it is we list the table name, in this case order line, followed by a space, and we assign it the letter O, followed by a comma, and we list our second table, which is part, and we assign part the letter P by adding a space and putting the letter P next to it. Then in our where clause, we have to qualify our tables to join, so we say where O.partnum equals P.partnum. So we're saying where the partnum in the order line table equals to the partnum in the part table, but instead of repeating names over and over again, we simply repeat a letter. Hit Control-Enter, and sure enough, we get the results. Once again, I've shown you aliases joining 2 different tables together twice. It's not really necessary to use these aliases when you're having 2 tables, but in later examples, we're going to deal with multiple tables, sometimes 4 or 5, in which case using aliases will make the coding much, much simpler this way. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you.